Okay, so this is 6.3. We are going to be comparing functions. That's our standard, and our goal is that we can compare functions by using tables, graphs, equations, and also verbal descriptions. And we should be able to get at least an 80% accuracy once we're given the lesson tomorrow. When you're given your independent practice as your homework. So the first one, we're going to compare a table with an equation. So what we need to do is find the equation of the table given. So in this case, we're going to pretend that we have two different phone companies. We have a phone company who charges 10 cents for every minute that you talk, and then $10 just to start you off a month. So again, the Y is going to be the cost, total cost for the month, and then the X is going to be the number of minutes that I'm using on my phone. So this is equation for company A. Now for company B, we have a table. So from that table, we have to derive the equation, which is in the form of the slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. So what we need to find is our m. So going back to finding our slope, we're gonna is rise or run. So we have to find the difference of y's to the difference of x's. So the change of y over the change of x. So I'm gonna take those points and I'm gonna create my equation with the points given on my table. So I'm going to take my y. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 2 points. And remember the other form that we can do that in is change of y over the change of x. So we can do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to pick 2 points, any of the points that I like. Just to make it easier, I'm going to pick this 2 because I can see that they both have a decimal point a at the end. So I'm going to take this one, my greatest one at the beginning, to be my first. So I'm going to take 19.8, that's going to be my y2, minus 15.8 all over 60, which is my x2, minus 10, which is my x1. So then 19.8 minus 15.8 is just 4. And then 60 minus 10 is 50. Remember, first one goes in the house. So with that calculator, I can do this. 50 doesn't go into 4, so that's a 0. Bring up a decimal, and then that's a 0 again. So bring another decimal, and that's going to be 8, because 8 times 5 is 40. So then I have a remainder of 0. So in this case, the equation for this, for company B, will be y equals 0.08x. This means that she's paying, or that you're paying 8 cents per minute that you talk. Now, we need our B. Okay, so to find our B, we're going to plug the values in for y and x, okay, because we don't know B yet. So I'm going to use the space right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take any of the points given on the table for me for the x and the y value, okay? So let's take, I don't want to work with a lot of decimals, which then I'm going to have to, but I'm going to pick 50 and 19. So I'm paying $19 for 50 minutes that I use. So in that case, I have 50 comma 19, which is my x and my y. So I'm going to plug in my x right here, and I'm going to plug in my y right here. So I'm going to go 19 equals 0.08 times 50 plus b. Okay, so I'm going to do that. So if I multiply those, that would be so that's $4. So then it's 19 equals $4 plus b. Now remember, I have to do inverse operation to isolate my variable, my b. So I'm going to subtract 4 here. Going to subtract 4 right there. That cancels out because those are additive inverses. So that's 15 equals b. So then I can plug in my 15 right here. So in this case, for company B, you're paying 8 cents for every minute plus $15 just as an initial value a month. Okay, now we know that in this case, this one charges less per minute, but it has a greater initial value. This one charges less for initial value, but it has a greater rate for every minute. So the question is, so in this case, it depends how many minutes you use on your phone. But in this case, the question says, which one is cheaper if you use 240 minutes a month? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to plug in the 240. Now we have to think, is that going to be the cost or is that going to be the minutes? So it's the minutes. So therefore, it corresponds to X. So I'm going to take company A and company B, and I'm going to see which one's cheaper by plugging in my 240 for the X. So I'm taking this and I'm plugging just that 240 where I see the X. So when I multiply that, that is going to give me, I can multiply by that, just that. And I have a decimal there, so that's $24 plus 10, which is going to be $34. This is company A. Now company B is this equation. I'm going to plug in 250 for X right here. So Y equals 8 cents times 240 plus 50 plus $20 plus 15, which is 35 bucks. So in this case, if you're spending 240 minutes on the phone, it'd be cheaper if you go with company A. Okay. If you spend less minutes, it might be cheaper if you go with company B, but that will be a question that you're going to be given to be able to compare. Okay, so that's how we compare tables with equations. Now we're going to do the same thing with comparing a table with a graph. Just for the sake of time, I'm going to pretend that I was given this same table, so I already know that company B charges 8 cents per minute plus $15 a month. So let's do the same thing with the table. I'm sorry, with the graph. So with the graph, I'm gonna try to get my equation to compare them. Okay. So in this case, I'm gonna take 2 points again, same thing, and I'm gonna find my M. So I can take those 2 points and I can also use my graph. Okay, so let me do this first and then I'll show you how I actually do it by just looking at the table. So I'm gonna let's take this point, which is 20, 5. And I'm going to take this point, which is 60, 15. Okay, so I'm going to say 15 minus 5 over 60 minus 20. So that's going to give me 40, and this is going to give me 10. So then I have 10 divided by 40. I can also simplify. I know that's 0.25, but in case you don't know, now it's easier for you to divide. Then you can also do that. So that's 2 times, so that's 80, so that's 20 left, bring another 0, so that's 5, so 25 cents. So this one is charging 25 cents. Now, because of the graph, I see that it goes through the origin. That means that it has an initial value of 0, so I don't have to do anything else, okay? If you didn't have an initial value of 0, then you have to do what we did over here to find your B, plug in your X and your Y value. So I'm going to say Y equals 0.25. So this company only charges, 25 cents per minute you use with no initial value, okay? So in that case, let's see if company C is cheaper than company B. Okay, so we're using 240 minutes. So this one we already know. So for company, we already know that was $35. So it's almost $35. I erased it. I shouldn't erase it for 240 minutes. So let's look at this one right here. So we have 0.25 times 240. We can also write it like this. And in that case, it might be easier because I do 1/4 times that. I remember we multiply fractions by doing that, and I can cross cancel that. So it's going to be 1 time, and this is 60. So I use $60. And then in this case right here, if I were to multiply, which is the same thing, which I think it takes a little longer. Also $60. So same idea. So in this case, company B in this case is cheaper, B and C. If we compare B and C, because this one you're spending $60, this one is only $35. Now again, it depends on what information they ask you for, because if they say, okay, I'm only using 10 minutes, of course it's going to be cheaper because you don't have an initial value and it's only 25 cents per minute. Okay, so that is how we compare tables with equations and graphs. And also when you're given a description, just make sure you pay attention to what they tell you so you can compare them with the information given. God bless you. Remember, math is magical and you're amazing.